Well, those bales were drawn out from here, that field across there in the background, and get them in off the field so that the grey crows and that won't touch them. And once you get them in near the shed, then you can pack them in as suits. It's more efficient than just bringing them in the one. It depends on your setup, of course. Anyway, folks, the day today is a wee bit windy. There's a southwest wind, I would say, here in rural Ireland, and it's mixed. It's not very wet, but there's a bit of showers. It's a wee bit too wet for making hay, in my opinion. It'll dampen it a bit. Wouldn't be just the best, but it's said to improve. Now, of course, the big news is that the Americans have bombed the Iranian nuclear facilities, so they say, and they claim to put them out of action. And it's one big strike, and the next thing Iran will come to the negotiating table. Now, I know among my subscribers there are people who are on both sides and that share totally opposite views, and it'd be wrong for me to say who's right or wrong. I know that there's a lot of mistrust because during the Iraq war they claimed Iran had nuclear weapons and all that stuff, and they didn't. That was proven they didn't. Now, another thing is that the Ukraine was developing nuclear weapons, and Zelensky often makes the point, if he had to continue and ignore, or if they had to continue and ignore all the pressure, could have a nuclear weapon today, and it could be a different story with the Ukraine war. Certainly North Korea already has nuclear weapons, in my opinion, and nobody dare go near it. So they will probably become the thing of the future. Now, don't forget, about a year ago, Putin's Russia, offered Iran a deal similar to Article 5 of NATO, where Russia would guarantee Iran's security. And Iran refused. Iran refused to do it. Very strange. You think they'd have agreed to that. If they had signed up to that now, the Russians would be obliged to come in and bomb Israel and American ships. So, American battleships. I don't know. I don't think Trump would have went ahead if Russia had to have that guarantee. I think he'd have rang Putin, and Putin had just said to him, "You go ahead, do it. Tomorrow morning, we're already here. We're going to bring out your 2 aircraft carriers, take them out completely. You bomb away all you like. I won't go nuclear if you don't." And if you use that language to the Americans, they'd back down, I'd say. But anyway, that didn't happen. Now, the big question, I wonder, have they actually taken out the nuclear facilities at all? And that is if they ever existed. But if you think of Iran having a nuclear bomb and it dropped it on Israel, that would impact Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, all adjoining states, including Gaza. It'd take a fairly ignorant or mad crowd. Of course, they are a bit mad crowd in Iran to do that, to drop one. Now, remember, back before 1979, the Shah of Iran ran the Persian Empire, and he was a puppet of the United States. And it was the United States gave him, that's the pre-1979, the technology to build nuclear bombs and taught the scientists how to do it. And they got all that from the Americans. Does that sound familiar? So anyway, in 1979, there was a popular uprising. They were cheering on the streets and they were beating themselves in the chest till they bled. And they brought in the Ayatollah Khomeini, and then there was a while of relative calm, and then they started developing some type of nuclear. And the big question is it for domestic use? Is it for just making power? Or is it for weapons? And the only difference is the grade. The grade for weapons is 90% pure, thereabouts. The grade for nuclear power is only about 30% pure. That's the yellow cake, the uranium raw material. And ore, right. Enough said there. We don't know what's going to happen. Will Iran come to the negotiating table now? I'd say no. I'd say it'll just develop into an old protracted long war with between the United States and Israel fighting the Arabs. I think that's what will happen. Now, one thing, of course, which proves my point, right? America and Europe is loaded down with Islamic terrorists. They have secret armies in the United States all ready to go. There's secret armies in Germany and in Britain. There was an attack on Bryce Norton Air Base the other day and the damaged planes. So that's a big plus for the Islamic cause, to have your people strategically placed. And while the Israelis surprised me how they could take out the pagers and the people who with mobile phones and the leaders of the Islamic states in Iran's military, I don't know how they could do that. Did they never hear of a caravan? Did they never hear of moving out for a while and going somewhere else? Temporary accommodation. Is there no hotels? I can't understand how Iran is so naive as to be able to allow Israel to take out all their key people. They probably would have taken out the supreme leader were it not for the fact that Trump said no. So Trump's hoping now that he'll get some kind of peace negotiations probably. But I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest with you. I don't think so. And the other thing too now is, if this drags on, Trump's mega base, Make America Great Again, is in jeopardy. Certainly, if I was the American president, there'd be nothing done outside of America unless they impacted me. I'd let them fight away. If America hadn't been involved in the First World War, there'd be no Second World War, because the Germans would have won. Nobody can tell me what the British had against the Germans or what was wrong with the Germans. I don't know, but certainly the result of the First World War caused the rise of Hitler. Now people are shouting Hitler was right. Look what the Jews are doing to innocent people in Gaza, and you get all this stuff. I think there's a lot to be said for letting the Europeans slog it out on their own, because as long as they have the Americans backing them up, they're going to do mad things. Now, the other point about it is, where does this leave the Ukraine war? I know that the Europeans backed down on a proposal to reduce the price of oil from Russia to $45 a barrel. They've leaving it now at 60, and that's not been enforced. So of course, for me, and I have to be fairly ruthless about this, the goal for me is the destruction of the European Union. I don't think it can ever be reformed, but we can build something better like a looser union. I'm not against Ireland having good relations with Britain, with France. Why shouldn't we have good relations with Bulgaria? Why shouldn't we have good relations with the Italians? It's just that what's happened with the EU, that desire by the people for that type of relationship has been hijacked by the you-know-who, and we see the mess they're making. The EU has the gall to blame Russia for trying to destabilise the EU. After them shutting down their nuclear power stations in Germany, after them destroying their energy, after them building windmills and solar farms that do nothing, only use more power. The EU and Ireland doesn't need any help to destroy their own places and their own people. They're perfectly good at doing it themselves. I can't tell you any more than that. I feel that Iran would like to develop a nuclear bomb. They might never use it. I feel that the Americans have failed. I don't think that this strike, it did do damage, surely, the busters in, what do you call that place? Fodor, is it Fodor? There's no, Imrahan and place like that. No, they hit them all right and they hit them up. But whether they got down there and whether they're the main sites is a big question. Like everything else, I'd say the truth is somewhere in between. That's a long enough video. I'm not telling you too much. We'll let you go at that and keep you updated and get on with the silage work. Thank you very much. Bye.